All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
That'd be absolutely devastating.
Here, this is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn broadcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass while I win this match.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the G.W.R. Gonzo'S Wrestling Room, September 3rd, 2024.
It's a Tuesday. Different day this week.
Yeah, it's not Monday.
Feels like a Monday.
It sure does.
Feels like a Monday.
But I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez and Marcus Fine, like always. And tonight we have Big Glen joining us. How's it going, guys?
I'm doing good, man. WCWO on Friday was fantastic, as always.
Okay, well, we'll jump right in with the Indie Wrestling Report. I think the only show that anybody went to. Marcus, unless you have any results or anything that I don't know about.
Nope, just what Glenn took care of it for us.
All righty then.
WCWO.
All right, I'll go ahead and kick it off. WCWO took place on August 30th, 2024, which is last Friday. The show started off with the Anything Goes match. Mike Noble with Skull Crusher versus Logan Myers. Logan Myers won that match. Second match of the night, 7-mile road match. Dari and Too Loud Timmy Jackson versus Max Sterling and Pogo. Pogo and Mac were your winners in that match, but there's some comedy spots with Pogo using the frisbee, and things like that. It was a pretty entertaining match. The third match of the night was the Russian versus Waterboy Cross and Cousin Gooder. That match, unfortunately, ended in a no contest when the James gang got involved. And that pretty much led into our first half main event, which was the Tornado Tag Team match for the WCWO Tag Team Championship between the James Gang and Elijah and Carter. Winner and new tag champions, Elijah and Carter. One thing that I noticed after that match is the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome," or something similar to that. I can't remember which one it was, but they was pretty hyped up about that match. It was a very feel-good moment, Then we hit intermission. Then after all that, it was an Extreme Grudge match, and honestly, I think this was the match of the night. And the feature of the dub was in this match, my opinions personally, between IK3 and David Light versus Zach Nova and Juan Sanchez. I tell you what, man, I've not seen Juan Sanchez or Zach Nova before, and I was very impressed, man. And that's why I was mentioning about there, the feature of WCWO, because, man, those two guys put on one hell of a show. And that I would say that match probably lasted at least 20 minutes, and it was fantastic. And your winners was Nova and Sanchez. It was a great match. Definitely up there with match of the night candidate. And the next match of the evening was Cesar Cerveza versus Jason Levi and a returning Madman Pondo. And that was pretty cool. It was originally scheduled to be a one-on-one between Jason Levi and Cecil Cerveza, but our man Reggie Edwards said that he had gotten a call from somebody, and out came Madman Pondo.
Our man, we're ready to become your man.
Yeah, exactly. Reggie still sucks, by the way. Anyway,
Yeah, that's true.
winner was Pondo when he smashed Cecil with the stop sign. That was a pretty good, entertaining match. Pondo came out with the signature stick and saw blade thing. You know, you guys have seen it before. You pretty much know what I'm speaking of. Then our main event was a fatal 4-way double title match, territory championship, then the outlaw title. First of all, would be for the territorial belt. Then the outlaw title was the second fall between Phoenix, Jackson Morgan, Zay Gates, and War Ready Malenko. They tore up the house in this one, and it was pretty unfortunate for T.S. Wiley. You know, he got put through a door like 20 seconds in, you know, and he was taking like an hour-long nap. Anyhow.
Kind of sounds like he got what he deserved.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'd say so. There are some people that was next to me that was giving him hell, you know, things like that, giving him the finger, you know, stuff that me and David Kraft do all the time, you know. And but the first fall, and we have a new territorial champion in Phoenix. And the second fall went to War Ready Malenko. Now it was up there with match of the night. I'd say match of the night was technically a tie between the fatal 4-way double title match and Zach Nova and Juan Sanchez tag match. So,
Who did Phoenix pin?
honestly, I can't remember. I think it might have been. It wasn't. I don't think it was War Ready. I think it was Jackson. I think he pinned Jackson.
Probably that, because that's the feud going Phoenix and Jackson. So
Yeah,
that's probably what it was.
I can't say for sure. I'd have to go back and look. I may have. It may be in that photo album, but I feel like Phoenix pinned Jackson.
So it sounds like it was a pretty good show. I know what is this, your second or third show? Getting to see there at the Dub.
I try to go several times a year. I think this would have been show number 5 or 6 for me personally. I like I said, I tend to go once a year. Fridays is just a hard day because usually you have like a Pacer game or have something else going on. For example, the reason why I show up there last minute is because I was originally going to watch the Fever game here at home, but I decided to go down to the Dub anyway, so it just worked out that way perfectly.
Cool. Well, sound like you had a real good time. Sound like
Every time I've been, they have definitely have not disappointed. It's been a great show every time.
Yep. Yeah, everybody out there, if you've not been, if you live anywhere close to Indy, definitely go check out the Dub. The shows every Friday. I believe doors open at 6:30, show time at 7:30. All tickets are $12. So I mean, definitely.
You can't beat that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they call it the best $12 you ever spent. So.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Well, we're gonna move on. We have our Chris. I don't know if I'll give you a note. I don't think you have yours. Top 5 independent wrestlers for the month of August, and I've got my top 5 for the pro wrestling. Marcus, I'll let you go first with your top 5 independents.
I'll figure something out here.
Okay.
Give me a minute.
All right. Well, I'll give you I have a side note on Friday. I talked to Cecil, and they did not know that Pondo was even there until he showed up.
So he showed up. Okay.
So Levi, Jason and Cecil had no idea that Pondo was even there until he showed up. Yep. So Cecil said it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a very good match.
So, okay, I have Warren Miseries who give me his. He only went to a couple shows. I'm thinking because of Warren's demographics, we will open it up to Illinois shows from here on out, if that's all right with you guys, because he'll hit more of those than he can Indiana. But he had number 5.
Where is Warren?
I think he's in Michigan.
Yeah, he's
definitely
traveling.
not here.
He does one show and then decides he can just take time off.
Vacation.
He got
yeah,
pissed off at us because what we were saying about him at Warrior Pro.
Yeah, he finally watched that commentary that we did.
Oh, you remember what we said? What we said?
Well, you know, because the rookie and
Yeah, I stood there. Remember when he was getting the brass knuckles, and I said we was wondering what he was getting, and I said probably giving Buck his room key.
Yeah.
One of the things was said. There was other things said too.
yeah, there was other things, but so anyhow, okay. His number 5 was Cecil Cerveza.
Yep.
4 was Jared Kripke. 3 was Rory Shield. He actually seen Rory Shield. The 3 shows he attended last month, Rory Shield was on every one of them. So he had Rory Shield on there. JB number 2, Zay Gates at number 1.
Okay.
So that was Warren's. Then you want me to do mine?
Yes, Marcus, please.
All right. Well, I got 3 honorable mentions because I wasn't there. Basically, they're shout outs. Of course, we're going to shout out to Elijah Arrows and Carter Kaufman, new tag team champs at WCWO.
Yes, absolutely.
Jake Phoenix for finally becoming a champion, territorial title. I think that was a good move. And then we're going to give one to Jackson Morgan. He was the inaugural 210 champion in Illinois. So that's the honorable mentions. Now, this is going to stir some people up because this is not – you're going by what I've seen. You know what I've been talking about all month.
Okay.
Number 5, Mike Noble, for the impressive improvement that young man has done in a very short period of time, and the fact that he's got it.
Yeah, he does got his heel persona is fantastic.
Yeah, and
I've experienced that. Oh, you've seen the picture.
yeah. Number 4, Cold X becoming the new AACW Tag Team Champions.
What time
See,
you
I
showing?
can't even hardly get that out of my mouth. Number 3, Cody Lee becoming the new AACW champion. And here we go, guys. Number 2, Zach Nova, win over IK3. Now, that's the one I seen, but now he's got 2 wins over IK3 because he won Friday, but I can't count that one.
Zach Noble had pretty much got a brand new chest on Friday. Golly. That was –
Now, we all seen Zach Nova pin IK3 in Lebanon. And at number 1, Juan Sanchez, who has a win over IK3 and a win over David Light this past month. So I'm telling you, these rookies are on fire.
yes, absolutely.
So congratulations to everybody on my list. I always seen two title match changes last month.
And Juan Sanchez also had a win over, I think, over Jordan James as well.
I know he wrestled Jordan James.
I think he beat him in Lebanon that night, didn't he? Or did he lose that match?
I know he wrestled him that night, but I can't remember if he won or lost.
I was thinking he won that match.
He may have.
And I didn't expect them to win that tag match on Friday. I was thoroughly impressed.
I know Nova beat IK3 that night,
yes.
but I was thinking that I know Sanchez wrestled Jordan James, but I thought Sanchez won that match, but I might be wrong.
You have your list ready, Chris? You want me to go first?
I can go.
Okay, go ahead.
At 5, I have Bird. I've seen him a couple times, and that's I was impressed. Number 4, I'm with Elijah Arrows. I got to see him a couple times. A couple times I've got to see him. He's been impressive. At number 3, got IK3. At number 2, Zach Nova. At number 1, Juan Sanchez.
Yeah, I have it. Jordan James actually beat him.
Okay, Jordan James beat him that night. It was a real good match. I remember that, but I was thinking 1-1 for some reason.
In my top 5 independent, my number 5 is JB. Held on to his title this month at World Pro. It was by disqualification, but he did hold on to his title. My number 4 is Brandon Day at FEW. He had a big win over J.W.R. Submitted him. So definitely one of the mainstays of FEW. My number 3 was Zach Nova. We seen him beat IK3 there at Lebanon. My number 2 was Brody Botkins. I got to get 2 victories this past month. World Pro had a victory, and then he had a big victory at AACW in that big 4-way match. But some great competitors in that. So he's my number 2. My number 1, winning the AACW title, is Cody Lee. He's my number 1, being able to come there and win that championship. A little controversial how he won it, but he did win it. So that's my top 5 for the independent wrestlers for this month. Remember, guys, these are shows that we've seen personally. So they could, the list are going to be a little different. Just letting everybody know that. I got my top 5 for pro wrestling for the month of August. My number 5 is Bronson Reed. He has been on fire. Unfortunately, he got COVID and couldn't wrestle this past week. But he's been on fire. My number 4 is Cody Rhodes. Had 2 big victories in this past month. He beat Kevin Owens, and then the same month, beat Solo Sikoa. So 2 big victories, held on to his title. My number 3 was Nick Nemeth, who won a big Ironman match, 60-minute Ironman match this past Friday against Josh Alexander. He's my number 3. My number 2 is Gunther, who also had some big wins this past month, beating Randy Orton, and he beat. I'm having a brain fart.
Damian Priest, wasn't it?
Yes, Damian Priest. Thank you. So there's 2 big victories there. I mean, hard to beat that. But my number 1 was Bryan Danielson, getting that big victory win.
I saw some clips of that.
AEW tradition. So that's my number 1 for this month. Okay, we're gonna go into our Monday Night Raw recap. This is from last Monday, even though I know they did have a Raw last night. We'll do that next week. First thing was Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. That was a really good match. I love the stuff that happened in the parking lot. I just thought there was no decision in the match, but I just thought it was awesome. I love the way it was done. I love the way it was shot. Marcus, what do you think?
Oh, I can't complain. I'm just glad that I'm glad it wasn't a squash match. It was pretty impressive. I liked how Strowman actually picked Bronson Reed and threw him off the top rope. And then, of course, the parking lot thing, that was just fantastic. He's climbing up on those equipment boxes, up on that high ledge, jumping down on that car and busting the headlight or the ceiling light out. I don't know if you've seen that, but the ceiling light busted out of it when he come down on it. And
after
it reminded me. Yeah, I was gonna say it reminded me of the Big Show and I think it's Big Boss Man feud, where I think Big Show threw a car on Boss Man or something like that back in 1999. So
after the commercial break,
visual,
they showed footage from over the top, and you got to see the windows pop out and shatter and bust. So you might look that up. It's outstanding. It's an over top view. It's an over top view, and it is outstanding, man, because you just see the windows just disintegrate when they hit that, and it's really awesome. So definitely look that up. I loved it. Chris, I believe you got to see it. What'd you think?
No, I thought it was real good. I've been a big fan of what they've been doing with Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was very good. Glenn, I assume you got to see that and everything. What do you think they're doing?
I like it. I've always liked Braun Strowman though, but I like how they're building up Bronson Reed to be this big, bad, psychotic guy. Given Seth Rollins 50 tsunamis, more tsunamis than the natural disaster itself has hit, over the history of the world in that way, It's just a great feud, man. I do think Bronson Reed, when he comes back from COVID, is going to cost Braun his shot at the IC title. So, which that kind of leads into last night. So.
Yeah, I think probably Reed was scheduled to probably win that match last night and go on, but since of everything that happened, hopefully he can come back from COVID and be back ready next Monday. We'll see. Next thing was Uncle Howdy defeated Chad Gable. And first match for Uncle Howdy, and for a long time for Bo Dallas, and so it was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. Like the way it was shot, like the way it was done. I like you guys know that I've been concerned on how things would go once these guys got in the ring. So far, I think things have went very well. So, Chris, did you get to check that out?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
No, I thought it was good. I liked when they had Howdy at the outside toward the end before everybody jumped in, and he was just laughing. But no, I thought the timing of everything was spot on. I enjoyed it.
Glenn, have you seen that footage?
I've seen a little bit of it. I think I was watching. I may have been at the video game when that was taking place, but I've seen a clip of it. That visual of Uncle Howley laughing before he got in the ring is fantastic.
And Marcus, what do you think?
Well, I think that's funny because we all noticed the laughing because that's on my paperwork
Yeah.
too. I like the fact that he mimicked the dance.
Yeah.
Because
The one they did with Cena
Bray
back in the
Wyatt
day.
did the dance with
Yeah.
someone, and then he did the dance. The beautiful power slam reminded me of Road Warrior or Animal. The announce table shit's getting old, and I could say that for everything I've seen this week because everybody's got to go to the announce table, rip the cover off, throw all the monitors on the floor, and do whatever they do. But I did like to see the Manimal Claw being used. Remind me of
I
Mick
did too.
Foley, Mankind. And then when Ivy Niles jumped on Redbeard, I know he doesn't go by Redbeard, but and he just kept fighting.
I was gonna say I think Ivan could probably take Redbeard.
Well, she jumped on his back, and he just kept fighting. It was like she wasn't even on there.
Yeah.
She is pretty tiny.
It was very well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too, guys. One other note on Raw was something I asked you guys to comment on, but Jay Uso was in a IC tourney match with a tournament match against Karrion Kross and Kofi Kingston. He came out on top of that one. Pete Dunne defeated The Miz and Xavier Woods in the other matchup. So them two move on to a championship match. It's actually going to happen this next Monday coming up, and it'll be 4 competitors involved in that. So as another note for that. That's it for Raw. Just had a couple quick notes for AEW. Moxley came out, started the show, and cut a promo on Tony Schiavone and told him this is not his company anymore. I don't know if that's – I know Schiavone does work in the back and is a right-hand man to Tony Khan. Tony Khan would have been on a headset listening. I don't know if that's towards him. There's something definitely going on. Looks like some kind of top takeover. A lot of people are speculating that it has something to do with Shane McMahon. So we'll see where they go with that. The other thing is we did announce that Swerve Strickland will take on Hangman Adam Page at the next pay-per-view in a cage match. So that'll be happening this Saturday. So that's it for AEW. The first thing I wanted to go on the pay-per-views we was going to go over because we got 3 or 4 of them here. I was going to do Bash at Berlin first. So I know it's a little bit out of order, Marcus, but I was going to do WWE Bash at Berlin, the first one we was going to go over. The show started. Some people were surprised by this. I wasn't because of where they was at, being in Berlin. Cody Rhodes opened the show with Kevin Owens. I really enjoyed the match. I like they had a lot of counters in it. I like the conflict that Owens showed wrestling his friend, and it really didn't have that killer instinct that he normally would have. So I like the way that was done. Marcus, what do you think?
It was an all right match, but I give it was the worst match of the night. And it wasn't a bad match. It was just my worst match of the night. I like the handshake. The dead stare at the very beginning when Kevin Owens came out, dead stare, got in the corner of the ring, sat on the ring post, just stared. Didn't move, just stared. I love that. Very focused. KO dropping top rope. Cody drops off top rope. Yeah, there was a lot of good moves on that. The Kerry Von Erich moment, that's what I called it. When he wouldn't kick his knee. Remind me of Kerry Von Erich. I don't want to win that way. It's like, so I called him Kerry Von Erich. The thing I didn't like was the fact that too many kickouts on these finishing maneuvers. These are finishing maneuvers. This is the guys' finishing maneuvers, and those guys are kicking out. My thought is don't do so many of your own moves, your own finishing maneuvers. You can win with a finishing maneuver, but don't do half a dozen and have your opponent kick out. It cheapens that move. I thought KO should have won. I knew he wouldn't, but I thought KO should have had it. But it was a good match. It was just my word because I'm being picky. And at first I was kind of like, why are they doing this first? But when you got Gunther, then I thought it made sense because now they're going to have that one, and that makes sense to have main event. in Berlin.
Yep.
But I gave it a C only because of what I said, but it was far from being bad.
Yeah. Chris, did you get to see that match?
I saw parts of it. I haven't seen the whole match. But what I saw, I thought it was a pretty good match. I did find it funny how much they were trying to sell on the commentary that he didn't want to kick him to his knee because he didn't want to win that way. The comment Michael Cole and Graves was selling that point big time on the commentary.
Did you get to see any match in Berlin?
Sure did. That was a pretty good match. I think a lot like Marcus on that one. It made sense why that was first match when you look who was in the main event, and it was pretty much a serviceable title match.
Yeah,
it got the job done pretty much.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I agree with that. Okay, next up we have the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. On and Alba Fire, the Unholy Union, the champions, took on Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. I think this might have been Bianca's best performance so far. I thought she looked really good, looked more comfortable. I really liked the in-ring psychology in this match. I like the teamwork. Both teams did. I like the
whose best performance?
I think you got it wrong.
Okay, you said Bianca.
Okay, sorry. I meant Jade.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. I thought that's like, well, wait a minute.
I was like, wait a minute.
I misspoke.
And I was like, that's why I said something. I knew he didn't mean Bianca.
Yeah, I meant Jade
after
Cargill.
I thought about it.
Yeah, I thought Cargill looked really good. Thanks for correcting that. And I like both teams. Their teamwork I thought was really well done. I really liked it, and we do have new tag champions with Cargill and Belair. So, Marcus, what do you think?
I think you looked at my notes, Chris. I think he's cheating off my papers because I had basically the same thing. The tag champions, they worked well together. Both teams were spot on, move for move, had their timing down beautifully. And I had on here, Cargill was improved a bunch since I've seen her last. I love the finishing maneuver. What else? A lot of hidden tags. I was really a lot of that. They get in the corner. A lot of hidden tags. I love that because then the opponents didn't know the tag had been made.
Yep.
So, but yeah, basically everything you had just said except the hidden tags. I think he cheated off me. But anyhow, yeah, and Cargill has improved a lot since I'd seen her last time. So I was very impressed. I give that one a B.
It was a very good tag match. I really enjoyed it. Glenn, what do you think?
Pretty good match. I give it an A-, just on the timing alone between the two teams. Isla Dawn and them two ladies have really come a long way since their time in NXT. I never them being in NXT and that train of thought of what are they going to do when they get to the main roster. And they've impressed me since they've been tag champs up until Saturday afternoon. So.
And they're going to have a rematch. I believe it's next Monday night. They're going to have that rematch. I believe it's Monday night. So they're going to get Unholy Union is going to get a chance to get those belts back. So that should be interesting to see what happens there. Next match, Chris, did you get to see that? No,
I didn't see that.
Okay, next up we had CM Punk against Drew McIntyre in a strap match. CM Punk come out on top of that match. I really liked the match. Because I like those type matches. I like the four corner matches. I know there's younger people out there that don't like the four corner matches. They can kiss my ass. I don't. I think it's why have a strap match if you're not going to do the four corners stipulate? That's my opinion. If you just do a strap match and it's just a hardcore match, if you don't have some kind of other stipulation with it, that's my opinion. I really liked it. I did have a question, Marcus. Do you think that Punk got bloodied up the hard way? Because I didn't see him cut. I didn't see where he would have cut himself.
No, it didn't look like. Normally, if you look at that, blood, it didn't look like he cut himself. His bleed spot actually looked like he smacked it on something.
Yeah, that's what I thought also. I really liked it. Glenn, what do you think?
I liked it as well. Obviously, this is setting up for Bad Blood Hell in the Cell here in the next few weeks. That match is going to be prime rib in that way. It's going to be fantastic.
I think so too. Marcus?
Well, we talked. the touching of the ring posts when McIntyre we talked about this, but I'll do it for everybody else. McIntyre touched when he had Punk on his back, but then Punk touched. That should have canceled out McIntyre's. But then when McIntyre went to the next post and touched, that should have canceled out Punk's. I don't see both of them having the touch in the tag or the ring posts. That's just, I guess, go back to the Bruiser days, or I've just never seen that.
See, I have seen it
yeah.
in NWA.
The German announce table survived the first two matches before it got pulled into something. I had that on there, and then I thought it was funny how those guys stood on the other side of the barricade so that they could use their table instead of standing in front of the table. They got on the other side of the barricade to protect themselves. The straps were too big. See, I'm being picky because they had to hold them on their wrists.
Yeah, that's too long.
Most of them, they buckle on there. Those guys were.
They were slipping.
See, now I'm being picky because they went and got the chair. Why does the timekeeper not get a padded chair, desk chair? Why is he always getting a metal folded chair? Why does the ring announcer? I mean, seriously, the timekeeper, if he's not pissed with it all, doesn't move. He ought to get the desk chair.
Yeah.
But see, I'm being picky. I told you. But I was happy to see the referee knew the rules, but Wade Barrett didn't know the rules. Because Wade Barrett says, you need to be counting, ref. And they're like, no, you don't count this. And I'm laughing because it sounds like us doing our commentating.
Yeah.
It's like, but I give the match a B. Like I said, I was being picky. And I like the outcome. And I love the strap match. I just, again, with the tag in the post, that was just a little different than what I'm used to. But, well, let me flip over. I got part 2 of this. What's it say? Oh, I liked how Punk pulled McIntyre into that corner. McIntyre set that chair in that corner, and then Punk grabbed that strap and pulled him into it. I like that. When McIntyre dropped Punk over the top rope through the table, and the entire crowd's going, "This is awesome!" All he did was drop him over the top rope. There was nothing spectacular there.
No. It wasn't. But first of all, they were happy that they used a table, and people go crazy over tables for some reason. But it was different, though, because you really don't see it done that way. So it was different. I thought it looked better on camera than probably what it looked to them. It looked better on us watching at home.
Well, that's true. Actually, it was a holy shit chant. It was a holy shit chant. But I'm sitting there thinking, all he did was drop him over the top into that table. It wasn't like nothing spectacular. But anyway, B. I give it a B. Like I said, I was being picky.
Okay. Next up, we had the Terror Twins, Rhea and Priest, taking on Dom and Liv. This was my match of the night. It barely beat out the Punk match for me. I really liked it. I thought all 4 performers did an outstanding job. Crowd was crazy for this match. The moment of the match for me was when Rhea got a hold of Dom and got him in that chokehold with her legs. There in the corner where she was like raised up in the corner, and that crowd went nuts. And I really enjoyed this match. I thought all 4 workers were outstanding. Marcus, what do you think?
I was glad to see it was an old school tag match, mixed tag, women against women, men against men. It reminded again back to the Bruiser days when he used to run them. I wasn't sure, with what we see on the independents, if the men and the women would fight, which they honestly could in that scenario, but they didn't do it. When Liv was in there, Rhea had to be in there. When Dom was in there, Priest had to be in there. But I thought it wasn't my match of the night, but it was right up there. You knew that Finn Balor and Carlito were coming if you was watching the background at the fans. I knew they were coming sometime, but when you looked, all of a sudden they all started pointing. It's like, okay, here they come, because they gave it away. But it was I loved it. It was a damn good match.
Glenn, what'd you think?
Loved it, start to finish. Close to match tonight. I think our match tonight is probably all going to be the same when we get to it here in a minute. So,
Okay, our next up then is the WWE World Championship match. It was between Gunther and Randy Orton. I really like this. I like the way Gunther sold his hand injury, wrist injury. I loved the way he sold his arm the whole match. I really like that. I thought it was a big win for Gunther. The loss doesn't hurt Orton. I thought it was very old school. I've heard some people complain it was too slow paced. I disagree with that. I
Yeah.
thought you don't want every match to be the same. You want matches to be different, and I thought that match was different than the other matches. So I really enjoyed it. It was right up there for me too, as one of the best matches. Again, I prefer the Rhea and Priest match. I think the crowd might have helped it a little bit in that aspect, but I really enjoyed the match. Marcus,
Match of the night for me.
Yep.
And it was funny. It's funny how you say this stuff. We've talked about some of this, but some of this stuff I would not talk with you about because I wanted to save it for today. And I like the fact that it was an old school, slow storytelling match. They weren't rushing. They were telling the story. They were doing the moves. They slowed it down. It was a clinic per se.
Yep.
That hey, you don't need to be jumping and flipping and flapping around all the time. If you hadn't noticed, again, like I said, I was noticing it was the only match that you've seen the competitors sweat. Now I don't know. Go back and look. You don't see the rest of them, but Gunther and Orton were just pouring sweat.
They were looking pretty shiny.
And the rest of them didn't really pour sweat. So, did you see Gunther hit his head on the table when it came down? I don't remember what he done, but he came down. But Gunther actually smacked his head on the table. It wasn't supposed to be that way, but the back of his head hit that table, that announce table. And I give Randy Orton. I really think he passed the torch. I don't know. I give it to Orton for he didn't get pinned. He was passed out. Shook his hand at the end of the night. I really think it was a pass the torch moment. And you want me to throw some more crap in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Prime bottles survived the entire show until the main event. The last several pay-per-views, those Prime bottles are everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
The stairs didn't get used until the main event. The stairs was left alone until the main event. But yeah, that's my match of the night. I very old school. I loved it, and it lasted 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it was a good little bit. That's for sure. That was obviously match of the night for me. Match of the show, and it was good from start to finish. Anybody that's got to complain about it being too slow, at this point, they just look for something to complain about. So,
well, two people don't know how the origin of wrestling started.
Yeah,
you need to go back to the Bruiser days and stuff, and then but they say that's boring because it's too slow for them.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that, you don't have what you have today. But
it's true.
Everybody's taste.
I give the show overall. I give the show an A-. I also wanted something that stood out to me, which their production and the video packages are always good on WWE. But I thought for this show it was even extra better. I love their video packages and their build up before each match and stuff. So definitely wanted to shout that out. But I give the show an A-. Marcus, what would you give the show overall?
I give it a B+, B+.
And I'll go A-. It may have been A+ if it was in the Tokyo Dome, Dave Nelson's turn, but yeah, definitely A best.
I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's me and my grandson Austin was talking. It's hard to compare shows. He thought it was an A, but he also thought SummerSlam was an A, and he said it's hard to compare. Yeah. It's hard to compare a SummerSlam or WrestleMania to a smaller show, especially with the crowd. You had 54 or 55,000 at SummerSlam. This show had 13, 14,000. So, I mean, even though I thought the crowd was great, I mean, they was into the show. So it is a little different. Next up, we're going to do NXT No Mercy is what we're going to do next. The first match was Axiom and Nathan Frazier against the tag team champions Chase U. That's Ridge Holland. And I don't think I wrote down the other guy's name. No.
Oh, I have Chase U. I don't know what his name is either.
I can't remember it. I'm having a brain fart. Well, anyway, they took on Chase U. I thought it was a really good match. I really enjoyed it, and we've got new tag team champions again. Axiom and Nathan Frazier won that match, and after the match, Ridge Holland went crazy and attacked several members of Chase U, and so it should be interesting to see what happens later on tonight with Chase U on NXT. Marcus, what do you think of that match?
No, I loved it. I think both teams worked very well together, especially that top rope moves. They did it twice, where those guys actually was standing on the top rope and coming down. I did not see the heel turn at the end I didn't see that.
No.
It was just bang, and there it was. Like, oh shit! It's like,
Yeah.
That guy kind of reminds me of Shane Mercer. Not like if you stretch Shane Mercer up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he's taller than Shane Mercer, but he's got that attitude towards him, that big, tough, beefy stuff. But oh yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I give that. I give it an A.
Yeah, it was very good. Glenn, did you get to check out
Yes.
NXT?
The crowd was hot all night on Sunday, man. It was amazing. Tag match was great. Obviously, like Marcus had already mentioned, I didn't expect to see Rich Holland make that heel turn just yet. I figured he would stick with those guys for a little while longer, or at least until after January when they start booking Stand and Deliver. And that was obviously an A- for me as well.
Next up, we had Wes Lee versus Zachary Wentz, the former tag team partners there in NXT. I thought it was a really good match. They did have a little problem with that table fell apart before it was supposed to. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I saw that.
But I will give Wesley props. I mean, he didn't hesitate. He went right into jumping off the ropes and doing that double stomp. So he improvised. I thought it was a real good match, and a lot of people were surprised Wentz won that match. So I thought it was very well done. I really enjoyed it. Glenn, what do you think?
I liked it. Gigi Dolan's boyfriend and husband did pretty good in that match, so that'd be Zachary Wentz.
We have a show on YouTube with Zachary Wentz on it.
Yeah, against Blake Money Wright, I believe.
Yes, in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, outstanding match. Marcus, what do you think?
Well, you can definitely tell those guys have worked together many, many, many times. You can just tell guys that have been in the ring, probably trained together, I think they said. And you could tell it. Those guys were spot on. You did see where Lee hit the corner of the steps. It wasn't where it was supposed to be. He actually hit the corner. I was surprised he didn't get busted.
Yeah.
Because he hit them steps bad. But then the table, I got to laughing because all he did was sit back on it and the thing fell apart. I'm over here laughing. It's like, well, I don't think that's how that was supposed to work. I give it a B. It was a good match. And I want to mention it. Everybody was a champion. Even though those guys did defend the title, there was still a champion in it. And I'm laughing because everybody's a champion anymore. So,
yeah, Wentz is just won the X Division championship on Friday night. So he won that.
He won that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just won it in TNA on Friday night. Yes.
And that's one of the X Division. Do they still do that?
They did that match. Yep.
Well, then they couldn't have done that at NXT because it wasn't set up for that. So,
well, they don't have to defend it that way all the time, but that's how a lot of the matches are done. The Ultimate X, and they did the Ultimate X with 6 people, and he won that belt Friday night. Which I've got. Next up, we had Wendy Chu against Kalani Jordan for the Women's North American Championship. Kalani Jordan, the champion, and she held on to her title, won the match. That was a pretty good match. I thought might have been the weakest match on the show. Not that it was a bad match. I still thought it was a good match. I thought, I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought Kalani looked like maybe she got a little tired towards the end of the match.
Yeah, she looked gassed.
She looked a little gassed. And that could have been mentally too.
Yeah, I had to give it a C-. I thought the storytelling between Wendy Chu and Team Paxley was a little bit better than the match itself. Because, they kind of got them two, psycho bitches and shit like that, so I thought that was all right. It gets a
Marcus,
passing grade at least.
Marcus, what do you think?
Why did you think she got winded?
Just towards the end, she just looked like she was winded. I said it could have been even a mental thing, but sometimes you can get blown up and it's not even physical.
Booker T said it. They were in Denver. They're used to wrestling in Florida. The altitude
true.
changed a bit.
Yep.
He said,
Oh,
well,
one
the altitude was affecting her. They just going to have to work through that. And I bet that's what it was because he even said that in commentary.
I think you're right.
Um,
Yep.
I love the face paint on Chu. I mean, that was just wicked. That
Yes.
face
Yes.
paint was
He doesn't get
beautiful.
better than that.
The twisted leg on the neck also was done in the Randy Orton match. You know, when she stood on both sides and then she twisted. Well, Gunther did that to Randy Orton in his match as well. So that would happen twice over the weekend where they did that twist on the neck. The frog splash that Jordan put down, beautiful landing. Yeah. Most of them bounced. It was beautiful. Both of them fell off the top turnbuckle. I really thought she would have had it. I really did. I thought she would have had it. It was great. And then you had this sneak attack at the end where that lady brought the pillow out in that action figure when she snuck up behind her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that was a good match. I liked it.
Tatum's the kind of chick that if you was outside NXT getting ready to come in and you weren't paying attention and watching behind you, she can just sneak up on you and say, "Hey, make you jump out of your skin."
Next up, we had Tony D'Angelo against Obafemi for the North American Championship. I'll tell you what, guys, I really enjoyed this match. It's really close. It might have been my match of the night. I know D'Angelo's good. He was a collegiate wrestler. Obafemi was in track and field. I believe, if I remember right, he's a discus thrower.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good match. I thought D'Angelo was impressive. I actually thought D'Angelo beat him at one point, but Femi, I think they're building him correctly. I think he getting the tougher matches. I think they're doing the right thing with him. I know some people think he should already be on the main roster. I don't think he's ready for that yet. There's no point in pushing him too far. He has had a impressive. I think he's won since the first of the year, like 24 matches in a row, and is undefeated since the first of the year or in the last year or so. So I was really impressed with this match. I really enjoyed it. Marcus, what do you think?
I agree. There was I wouldn't say a decent size difference. There was a size difference. Oba's strong, but D'Angelo was just as powerful. He's that brute power, whereas Oba is more muscle power. But because D'Angelo put Oba on his shoulders, and Oba's a big, tall, muscled fella. So to get him up on his shoulders like he did, was pretty impressive. I put a smart-ass comment on here that Warren probably needs to work at NXT because the opening match had 16 people on the outside, it seemed like. And here we had the family on the outside, whereas promoters don't want to have more than one manager, and yet those guys had a whole freaking root section come out with them, but took that crowbar away from them. Kicked out of that spear, kicked out of the power bomb. Booker T even went ape shit over that when he kicked out of that power bomb. But I really thought D'Angelo had that as well. That was a very good, powerful match.
Yeah, Oba is fantastic. I saw him wrestle twice when I went to NXT back in the late winter, early spring. I think he's a year away from the main roster. He's got some work to do, but once he gets going, man, watch out. Whether it be Raw or SmackDown, when he goes up to the main roster, this is going to be a well-oiled machine.
I agree. I think 2026, I'd like to have another year, but I agree with you. Next matchup, we had the NXT Women's Championship match. Jada Parker against Roxanne Perez. I thought it was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. Side note, Parker has only had her first singles match in March of 23. So just a little over a year. She's been wrestling in singles. I think she was in some battle royals and a few other things before that. But I tell you what, I thought she looked really good. I thought she looked really impressive. She's got an impressive look. But I think Perez is going to be a star. I think she's going to be a big star. So I thought it was really good. It was Julia showed up. She's from Japan. She's half Italian and half Japanese. Big star over in Japan. A lot of people think she's going to be a big star in WWE. So I'm excited to get to see her. I've seen some tape matches recently. She does look very good. She's very physical. I think she's going to have to tone down just a little bit for WWE. But I thought it was a real good match. Glenn, what do you think?
I enjoyed it from start to finish. I mean, obviously, we knew Roxanne Perez was not going to drop the belt to Jada Parker on Sunday. Roxanne is probably main roster ready at this point. I would actually be surprised and disappointed if somehow she wasn't in the Royal Rumble, Women's Royal Rumble this year, when it's here in Indy. I think she should at least take part as a surprise entry from NXT. I think that would help her out by the time that she ends up dropping the belt anytime between then and WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, I think she'll debut on the main roster right after WrestleMania. No, I think she'll probably be in the Royal Rumble, but I think they'll wait till after they get through the season and start afresh.
She'll drop the belt, yeah.
Marcus, what do you think of that match?
This was my match of the night.
Okay.
Between that and the first one, the tag team champion change. These ladies are solid. Very solid workers.
Yes.
I like how they showboat, but they showboat to play mind games. Yeah. Especially Perez. I mean, some of that stuff she was doing was just killing me. Some of the moves she was doing to piss off
fans.
Jada Parker. I liked how they put Perez in between the middle and the top rope that she just kind of dropped off and sit down on her. Yeah. I was impressed by that, and they crashed through the barricades. So yeah, this was tied with the first match, and this one was my match of the night. These women are solid.
I
was
agree.
very impressed.
And Roxanne's like maybe 23 years old, Marcus. I mean, she's been wrestling 5 or 6 years, but she's very young.
2,300 pounds soaking wet, probably too. You know.
Yeah, and she was trained by Booker T there in Texas, so she's very good. Last match of the night was Joe Henry versus Ethan Page for the NXT Heavyweight Championship. I thought it was well done. I had a lot of fun with it. Ethan Page hung onto the title. I thought the storytelling was pretty good in it. That was a pretty solid match. The crowd loves Joe Henry. I will say that I think Marcus was probably going to his favorite maneuver happened this match, a low blow. But I thought it was pretty well done. Marcus, what do you think?
That's my C match of the night. Just as a side note, I was doing some research on these guys because I'm not familiar with NXT people. Ethan Page actually had Michael Elgin as one of his trainers. I called and told Tony that, or PM Tony that. Michael Elgin, who's been in the area quite a bit here the last 18 months, had a hand in training Ethan Page. So that was good to see. I like the fact that I wish they didn't do it with a low blow. I knew that Joe had to lose, but it wasn't a clean pin, so they didn't degrade Joe still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got damn low blows everywhere here on my paper. I like the fact that his is the ego's edge, the diamond cutter, the razor's edge. I heard all those terms used over the weekend, and it's the same move, but it just depends on who's using it.
Or the butt cutter.
The what?
The butt cutter.
I don't think I've heard that. Is that another one?
That's why I call Buck Sexton's. Yeah. I didn't throw that one in there.
Yeah, they couldn't let Joe win. Yeah, I thought he said the butt cutter too, but I knew they couldn't let Joe win, but they didn't let him lose cleanly. It was a crooked win. I thought that was, and there was a lot of after match attacks this pay-per-view here. Seemed like 3 out of the 5, 3 out of the 6 matches, 4 out of the 6 had shit go on afterwards.
Yeah, had a lot of stuff.
I thought NXT actually had a better showing than Bash in Berlin.
Austin kind of thought maybe the same thing. Austin was right on board with that.
And that's my first NXT pay-per-view I'd ever actually watched from start to finish. So,
yeah, one side note real quick. Ethan Page used to be with Impact Wrestling, then he was with AEW. AEW didn't use him a whole lot. His contract ran out and wasn't reported a lot. And Shawn Michaels had followed his career, and Shawn Michaels found out that he was available. And he called Triple H. He said, "We need him. You need to get him. We need him." And Triple H made a phone call, and they got him. And then, it wasn't a month, he's the champion. So he's a very good heel. Does a really good job as a heel.
The interview beforehand, where he's sitting with that guy at the table.
Oh,
was it Michael Cole? Was it no?
No, it wasn't Cole. I can't remember the.
He was sitting there, and the guy goes, "I believe." He goes, "I believe," and he's like, "Don't even go there."
Yeah.
And the guy says, "I'm not going to say I believe." It was just the way he kept throwing those little jabs at him, but I thought that was very well done too. That interview.
Was it Big Joseph? He was thinking of Marcus.
Yeah, Big Joseph's. Yep.
Yeah, and he wouldn't shake his hand at the end. The whole I give that that's my A- show right there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Glen, what did you think of that match?
It was a match of the night, but whether it's Joe Hendry's cracked nuts, with getting hit with that low blow, man, I still believe in Joe Hendry at the end of the day, So
yeah.
That's all I hear about anymore is fucking Joe Hendry.
All over the place, man. He's all over the place.
Fucking Austin has a damn fantasy football team
named Joe Hendry. Yeah,
I can't get away from the dude.
You can't, man. Yeah, he's done a great job with social media and building himself up. I mean, I think Impact's
he can catch you, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, I think he's great, but the problem is I can't tell you why. He just did. I cannot tell you. I really, really like him, but I can't give you a reason why I really, really like him, and that's not a bad thing.
It's not.
Thing. So
at the end of the day, he's able to market and be out there and make some money and do everything.
I gave that show a B+. I thought it was really well done. NXT, Shawn Michaels does an outstanding job with these guys. So I wish more people would give NXT a chance instead of thinking it's developmental, because it's more than just developmental. It's its own brand now too. So I wish people would give it more opportunity.
I will fly that NXT banner every day of the week. You know me, man. I love trying to make a way to get down there, whether it be by going to a Pacer game and make sure it's that right time of the week. If it's close to like a Monday or Tuesday, stay an extra day, go to NXT. It's amazing.
Next up, I know me and Marcus both watched this show, was MLW. It was live on TV last Thursday. I think they're doing all those shows. They got another show coming up, I believe. If I remember, I want to say it was the 13th, but now I don't want to say wrong, but I know they got a show coming up soon. It's the 14th. They got a show the 14th, free on TV, on YouTube at 7 p.m., the 14th of this month. And plus it's on there afterwards too, so you can still watch them. I really enjoyed the show. I'll give the show a B. Did have a little problem starting off. They started off the show and it was freezing up and messing up, and they just stopped the show and entertained the fans until they got the problem fixed, and then they started the show on TV. So you really didn't miss a whole lot. So I do give them credit for that, especially since the people at home were free. I mean, it wasn't like a pay-per-view where you're paying a bunch of money to see it. So I give them credit for that. The first match I got to see some of was Alex Kane and Big Dude Tito, and I thought it was a decent big man's match. Big Dude Tito won it. Marcus, did you have that one on? That was one of them they was having issues with.
Oh, well, the first one was Tim Thatcher versus Bobby Fish that lasted like 2 minutes.
Okay.
That's the one that went out. We couldn't hear it. And
yep.
Because all I wrote down on that was that they started out like amateurs. They were doing amateur wrestling more in that match, and then it was gone. But Big Tito versus Alex Kane. I got that. What do we have on there? That was another move for move. They were right on each other, worked well together. Interesting pin. I wrote that down, but I couldn't tell you what it was now. I mean, think of how much wrestling I've seen since then. But
yeah, a lot of wrestling, yes. I don't know if I have all the matches in order, so I'm just going to go through. I know this was one that you. I don't know if you enjoyed the match. I know you really enjoyed this competitor, the female Janae Kai. I know you really liked her look. She took on Hanako as the featherweight bout women's match, and she won by submission. Do you remember it, Marcus?
Oh yeah, evidently when you say my name, you cut out. You cut
Oh,
out
okay.
some, and I don't hear you say. I'm not ignoring you. I just like
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I looked
I
up
didn't
at
know I
you.
was cutting out.
Just a little. It's just like briefly. It's like when you say, evidently the internet can't handle my name. I don't know, but anyhow, um, yeah, I thought what was her Janae,
Janae
Janae
Kai.
Kai. I love the look. Yeah, I love that look. Um, I think that's funny how the test of strength, no matter where you're at, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, that
No matter where you
Japanese
go, it's the
wrestler,
same routine. It's like, um,
that Japanese wrestler was like 6 foot tall. The lady.
she dominated, destroyed that knee, and I like the submission move because it was a one-handed submission move.
Yes.
Because she had the other hand almost like a bull rider. She had the other hand up in the air while she's doing the submission move.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed with that because I've never seen that before. So, yeah, I thought it was a good match. I like the competitors in that. And like I said, that Janae Kai, well, yeah. I'd like to see her in person. I think I even told you I'd like to see both those ladies in person as well as Chu and who was it, Perez on the other side?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, all them women I've seen over the weekend. I'd love to see them come into the area and take on Rachel and Alice and all them.
I agree. From there, the next match I had up, and again, it may not be in order, Marcus. We had TJP and Filthy Time Lawler. TJP won that match. That was match of the night for me. I really enjoyed that match. Thought both guys looked really good. I like Lawler's heel character. TJP, he's been around for a long time. He used to be in the WWE. He's been in TNA. He's been a lot of places, but I really enjoyed that match. Marcus, what do you think?
Yeah, I like that. They were pretty evenly matched guys. One was scientific. TJP, very agile. Some of the positions he got himself into, he was very agile to get into those positions. Let's see what I got. Tom Lawler, leg hold in the corner at the ring post. I thought that was good. It's good to see an old-fashioned figure four every so often.
Yep.
I liked how he kicked him in the head. Kissed the ref's head. That bald fellow on the outside. That's what he wrote down. That was their guy out there, and the guy was getting on him. I thought he was going to kick him out, tell him to leave the ring side. And he grabbed a hold of him and kissed him on the head. The modified tombstone. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say that. Where that guy's legs are straight up, but they're not straight up. His head, they're straight up like this, and he dropped him. Beautiful. I've never seen that. That was beautiful stuff right there. So that's probably my match of the night.
Yeah, it was for me too. And the thing about TJP, he's slowed down just a little bit now because he used to really be a big time high flyer.
Yeah, being
big time, but he's had some knee injuries, so he's had to slow down a little bit compared to what he used to be. But I thought it was a real good match. I really enjoyed it. Next up, we had Kenta taking on Akira, and of course, a side note, which I know Marcus knows this, Akira is from Indiana. So Masters, but he did a lot of death match around here in Indiana and places, but they're building more as a technician. Thought it was a pretty good match. Kenta won, but I thought it was pretty good. I thought Akira looked good. Kenta's a veteran, been around for a long time. It used to be in WWE also. Big star in Japan. Marcus, what do you think?
Can we go back to the former match? Because I had it on page 2. The abdominal stretch part of that too, where he had his leg. See, it's that agility because he had his leg over his shoulder.
Yes.
Instead of how they normally put one leg over the leg and the other one's behind him, and then they pull him back. But he actually did that, but had his leg the other leg over his shoulder. It's like, damn. Gotta get my players right. Tom Lawler kind of reminds me of Jordan Dye. I had that written down. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jordan Dye.
I can see that.
and a lot of 2 counts. So anyhow, so now what we're doing Matt Justice, Matt Riddle.
No, Kenta and Akira.
Kenta and Akira. Oh, hang on, man. Let me see where I got that. Okay, there it is. Yeah, Akira, I've seen at the Dub. The minute he come out, they didn't even have to tell me his name. It's like, hey, I've seen him at the Dub. And it was weird that the actual results that I pulled up to show you, he took on Vinny Ricchetti that night for the territorial title.
Yeah, he did.
So
it was weird looking, and we won't go into details, but all those wrestlers that was on that show at the Dub is unbelievable. But,
yeah. Kenta won that, right? Another figure 4. Yes. That figure 4 into the backstretch, I've never seen it, because how do you go from laying on the mat to flipping back up the way he did? I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff this weekend that I've never seen, and it wasn't high flying moves. It was more scientific moves that you just don't see. Hey, there's our good buddy David Lee. Just popped in there. What's up, buddy? Kenta smacking his head. And then Akira with the wrestling. He's always had those interesting moves. Good, solid match.
Yeah, I thought so too. We'll do. Mark, what do you have the next one in front of you? Because I can go in your order easier than you
go. We did Matthew Justice, Matthew Riddle was the next one I had.
Okay, we'll do that one next. I really enjoyed that match. I've always been a big Riddle fan. I've just seen Justice before here in MLW, but I've seen him 3 or 4 times. I like him too. Thought it was a solid match. That suplex that they did, Riddle through Justice, that table exploded I don't think I've ever seen a table explode like that before. It was outstanding. But Riddle won the match, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, the table was good. The door was not.
Yeah.
The door was styrofoam. Yeah. If you notice how he threw that in there, to kind of floated in the air before it come down. Like, hell, that's styrofoam. It's like, Justice always had the upper hand in that match. But Matt Riddle won, but it didn't look like Matt Riddle should have won, because the only time Matt Riddle was on top is when he kicked out of the finishing maneuvers. And then Justice was right back on him. So Justice should have won that if you were to follow the match almost squash style, but Riddle pulled it out.
Yep. Yes, he did. I thought it was pretty solid. Next up, we had Paul London beat BRG. Solid match, but the big thing was after the match, Brock Anderson and C.W. Anderson showed up and destroyed Paul London. Marcus, what do you think?
My side note on this one, BRG, Brent Ryan Gosling, I think he reminded me of Carson Drake.
A little bit. Not as big, but yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't much of that match because the Andersons come out on that. It was a very quick, fast-paced match. Took out the EMT. I thought that was kind of humorous that here that guy is just there to help, and then the Andersons took out the EMT. I've met one of them Anderson.
Oh, CW?
Yeah, CW Anderson. I've met him in Lafayette, and I've seen him wrestle New Jack in Indy. So he's slimmed down some, but we're talking 20 years ago too.
Yeah.
So, there's not much to say about that. That was very quick before the Andersons showed up.
Next up, we had Little Guido against Nola Catano, Jimmy Lloyd, and LSG, and that didn't last very long until Dijak made his MLW debut and destroyed everybody and said he's there in MLW for a championship. So thought that was Dijak. I mean, was just coming off of being WWE TV. Had some great matches in WWE, especially NXT. I think it's a big get if MLW could make him their champion and make them the face of the company. But we'll see. Him and Riddle would be outstanding. They may have worked each other before. Marcus, what do you think of that?
I'm going to go back to the last one because once the Andersons were done, of course, it was a squash match against the Lazy J Lions or whatever that Love Doug and that was just a squash match. So okay, I should have read that before I went into that. Yeah, the Doomsday Clock reminded me of the Y2J clock when Y2J showed up because all through the what's that clock supposed to be? What's that clock supposed to be? Oh, we only have about 6 minutes. So it's time. It's time. And the way they were ramming on that clock, yeah, Dijak just come in there and destroyed everybody. Yeah, they could. I don't know what else to say. That was pretty good. It was good to see little Guido again. He's another one that's been around a while and still looks like he's got it for what little he done, what little they allowed him to do.
Yeah. Next up, we had Contra Unit take on Cozy Max. Cozy Max is the MLW Tag Team Champions. Contra Unit won that match and now are the new Tag Team Champions. That was a decent match. Contra Unit's impressive. Cozy Max, a couple Japanese wrestlers. Actually, one of them is the heavyweight champion there right now. So that was pretty decent. Contra Unit won that. It didn't surprise me.
So you said my name again, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Are you ready?
Yep. I'm ready.
I love the fact that because there's veterans in this match, the veterans know how to slow down. So it was a slowed down match. The rapid chops, they didn't hold back. They just rambled off maybe 10 of them. Good teamwork on both teams. The Mist, you always love Mist. I had to go back and rewind that twice just to watch the Mist. The Indian Pile Driver. But, yeah, it was total title domination. Contra Unit, you knew they were going to win it because they were on top of it most of that match. So,
Yeah, I agree.
and they're pushing them. You just kind of knew where they were going with that.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even watched any of that. You just, if you play a storyline right, you can walk into it, watch the match, and you know what's happening. That's how you know how to tell a story. If you don't know the chapter, you don't know where you're at in the book, but you could sit down and get the story. I got the story just watching that match. That's very well done.
And the last match tonight, the main event was Mystico against Atlantis Jr. That was a pretty good wrestling match. Mystico won the match. I want to get your takes, and then I was going to ask you a question about this, Marcus. So what did you think of this match?
I loved it. I love good old Mexican luchas. And it was old luchas, a good old lucha match. So, yes, I loved it.
I really liked it, too. Do you think it should have been the main event?
Well, they sure hyped it to be the main event.
That's true.
I don't know. Who do you think should be the main event?
Well, I thought the best match on the show was Lawler and TJP. But I did like Mystico, and the crowd loved it. So, I mean, I can't put it down. I thought it was a solid wrestling match. I just wondered. I thought maybe Lawler or even Riddle, just name wise.
No, you're right. I think Lawler and TJP should have been the main event because that was my match of the night.
And I give this pay-per-view a B.
I have to laugh. We're going to go with the titles again. Featherweights, middleweights, heavyweights.
Yeah.
So what's the cutoff to be a lightweight? See, now I need to ask weight limits.
Yeah, I'm not sure in MLW how they do it.
And then for the middleweight, what's your because now you're in a box.
Well, they call that women's match a featherweight match, but they don't have no other women, any other divisions.
And the funny thing is, those featherweight women were bigger than the middleweight. One of them middleweights. I mean, I was laughing because but I would like to know. Well, you got to weigh more than this, but not as much as this to be in that really fine line middleweight division. And featherweight, that's another one. Featherweight's a boxing term.
Yep.
And I like the fact that, well, I don't know if I like the fact. I thought that it was interesting that the ring announcer was calling them fights. Yep. This next fight is scheduled for, it's like, this ain't fights. He must have been a boxing announcer because this next match is scheduled for one fall. No, this next fight is scheduled for 30 minutes. And so he may have been an UFC ring announcer. I don't know, but it was just the way he said that. I give it a B. It was a good show once they finally got it running.
Okay, next up, I got a little bit of TNA to go over real quick and just some news and notes, and we'll get out of here. Just some news and notes from Emergence. That was their pay-per-view this past Friday. Sold-out venue in Louisville, Kentucky, held 2,000 people. So good for TNA continuing to have sellouts and growing into attendance. Ultimate X match. Zachary Wentz won the X Division title over the former champion Mike Bailey, Laredo Kid, Jason Hotch, Hammerstone, and Riley Osborne, a NXT wrestler. Spot fest, but I mean that's what it's going to be.
All right, who's Felicia Allison?
That me.
Is that you? I was saying I don't know her.
But
That's
it
not
was
you?
Spot fest. But it was really good, a lot of fun. And then the other,
Maybe it was me.
Somebody
I
was,
don't know who that was. Wow, I never had that happen before. I just canceled the call, but
and then from there we had the
Wow.
60-minute Iron Man match for the TNA World Championship. Nick Nemeth beat Josh Alexander in the 60-minute man match. Nemeth got up 2-0, and Alexander came back and tied it up 2-2. And then Nemeth hit Alexander's own signature move, the C4 pile driver, with 22 seconds left, and got the third fall and held on to win the match. I thought it was a really good old school match. I thought it was outstanding. So anybody get the opportunity to check it out, see if you can find it on YouTube. I don't think you'd be disappointed. And then, but at the end of the show, JBL shows up after the match, says something to Nick Nemeth, and Nemeth shakes his head okay. JBL leaves. Thought it was a really good match. I thought the pay-per-view was a B. Thought it was a pretty solid show. It was a B pay-per-view because, I mean, it's only showed on TNA's website. So, but it was a good show. And then just some news and notes real quick. First one is just sort of remind everybody tomorrow night in Chicago, Logan Square, Black Label Pro Wrestling. Rachel Armstrong will be taking on Jordan Grace. I think that show starts like at 6:45 or 7. That could be Chicago time. If people are trying to see if they can, might be on Thriller TV, I believe. That used to be Fike. Another note, somebody that we've seen before, Victoria, signed a WWE Legends contract, so that's good for her. And then, like I said, I mentioned about JBL. He's been going a lot of different places. He's been in AAA. He's a big investor in AAA now. He was a game changer wrestler. He was at TNA. He was also at OVW. Something's going on with him. I don't know exactly why. We'll see. And then did get some a little bit of confirmation on Odyssey Jones. He reportedly, the report is coming out that he was fired because of a reported domestic violence. I don't think WWE has confirmed that he has been fired, but he's definitely been took off their page and stuff, and so definitely some issues going on there. We'll see what happens there. And that's basically it for this week, guys. Next week, we're going to have a new feature starting. We're going to be doing every week we'll be doing some rapid fire interviews with different independent wrestlers and promoters, especially wrestlers. And so definitely check that out. And the plan is right now, Cecil Sabesa will be our first guest. So
That's a good pickup right there.
Definitely check that out. And Marcus, you got anything?
I'll be at the Dub on Friday. Should be at the Dub on Friday. NGW Monticello National Guard Armory. Sunday. It'll be the first time I've seen wrestling in Monticello, so I pick up a new city altogether. That's not for the year, but for all time. He's run shows out there before, but I've never been there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you brought up Cecil next week, and I got to talk to a couple guys to get the next few weeks settled out.
We're going to try to feature more independent stuff on the show, and
get to see my buddy David Lee on Sunday. He said he'll be there.
Oh, cool. Cool. So everybody have a good night, and we'll see you back to our normal night, Monday night.
Thanks a lot, Glenn.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Glenn. That just happened to work out.
Yes, it's amazing how I left the flow, go with the flow in that way. So,
all right. Well, we appreciate everybody joining us, and we'll see you guys on Monday.
That'd be absolutely devastating.
Oh! and this is the worst damn podcast I've ever been on.